Update on the latest news, sports, business and entertainment at 9:20 p.m. EDT APLT Venezuela Maduro the latest Venezuela's Maduro blames far-right for attack Caracas. Venezuela, AP, President Nicolas Maduro is blaming far-right factions in Venezuela for what he is describing as an assassination attempt. In an address to the nation Saturday, Maduro said, "This was an attempt to kill me. Today they attempted to assassinate me." He said evidence gathered thus far points to the far right working in conjunction with Colombians in the neighboring Andean nation. Maduro said he believed Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos was also responsible. He added police had made arrests in the incident but did not immediately provide any further details. Colombian officials have not yet commented on the accusation. Santos has become one of Maduro's most outspoken critics. Trump the latest Trump says Republicans should run on his record. Lewis Center, Ohio, AP, President Donald Trump is arguing that Republicans need to control Congress by casting the midterms as a referendum on himself. In a raucous rally in a sweltering gymnasium in Ohio Saturday, Trump pitched for Ohio State Sen. Troy Balderson, the GOP candidate running in a special election this coming Tuesday. He defiantly questioned the idea that historically, the party that controls the White House suffers in the midterms, declaring, "But I say why." Though boisterous and bellicose, Trump steered clear of the trouble he stirred up the night before when he blasted one of Ohio's favorite sons, LeBron James, on Twitter, questioning James's intelligence. Portland protests the latest reporter injured covering Portland protests, Portland, Oregon. AP, a reporter for the Oregonian, Oregon Live was injured when he was struck by a projectile during rowdy protests between right-wing activists and self-described anti-fascists in Portland. Aider Campuzano was bloodied Saturday afternoon but said in a tweet published on the newspaper's website that he was okay and was going to get evaluated. Police deployed flashbangs and other devices to try to disperse the crowds. Authorities say demonstrators threw rocks and bottles at officers. The rally was organized by Joey Gibson, leader of right-wing leaning group Patriot Prayer. It has drawn hundreds of supporters and counter-protesters. Trump LeBron the latest Trump doesn't talk about James during Ohio rally. Bridgewater, NJ. AP, President Donald Trump insulted the intelligence of NBA star LeBron James via Twitter but didn't repeat his criticism of the Ohio native before a home state crowd. Trump traveled to a high school north of Columbus for a political rally Saturday night. The visit came on the heels of controversy over Trump's late Friday tweet. The president tweeted after an interview James did with CNN anchor Don Lemon that Lemon was the dumbest man on television, but that he made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. James was being interviewed about a school he recently opened in Ohio for underprivileged children. Trump's rally lasted for more than an hour, and while he attacked Democrats and other familiar targets, he never mentioned the home state hero. California wildfires the latest, hundreds attend service for fallen firefighter Fresno, Calif. AP, hundreds of colleagues, family and friends attended a Fresno memorial service for an elite firefighter who died fighting one of the state's 17 major wildfires still burning. The Fresno Bee reported Saturday that a 50-vehicle procession carrying the body Brian Hughes drove through the town before the memorial service. Hughes lived in nearby Squaw Valley with his fiancée Paige Miller, who is due to give birth to their first child in February. The 33-year-old was killed July 29 by a falling tree while battling a wildfire that has prompted the closure and evacuation of nearby Yosemite National Park. Hughes was National Park Service fire captain and the leader of an elite, hotshot crew responsible for fighting fires in rugged terrain. He is one of 4 firefighters who have died in recent weeks while fighting wildfires. Brazil elections. Brazil party to name jailed leader as presidential candidate. São Paulo, AP, the Workers' Party in Brazil has started its national convention to confirm jailed former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva as its candidate for October elections. Da Silva leads polls for the country's top job by a large margin, but he is likely to be barred from running. It is unclear who would replace him on the party's ticket if that's the case. The Workers' Party is not expected to name Da Silva's running mate until Monday. The ex-president was hugely popular in his 2 terms between 2003 and 2010, but was jailed this year on a corruption conviction. Right-leaning candidate Geraldo Alckmin of Brazilian Social Democracy and centrist Marina Silva of Red were also nominated by their parties on Saturday. Midterms bot or human? Election crackdown runs into speed tweeting human bots. Chicago, AP. Some political diehards are getting caught up in an expanded effort by Twitter and other social media companies to crack down on nefarious tactics suspected of interfering in the 2016 election. Without meaning to, they've demonstrated the difficulty such crackdowns face. A 70-year-old grandmother is among the supporters of President Donald Trump who've been flagged as bots, or robot-like automated accounts, because they tweet prolifically. Their accounts have been suspended or frozen for suspicious behavior. When they started tweeting support for a conservative lawmaker in Illinois' GOP governor primary, news stories warned propaganda bots were trying to influence the election. Timothy Carone of Notre Dame's Mendoza College of Business says it could take years before Twitter, Facebook and other platforms are able to get ahead of the problem. Hall of Fame. The latest. Passionate safety. Dawkins enters Hall of Fame. Weapon X is now a Hall of Famer. Brian Dawkins, one of the hardest-hitting and most versatile safeties in NFL history, has been inducted into the Pro Football Shrine. Dawkins stared at his bust and nodded his approval to the crowd. An extremely popular player for 13 seasons in Philadelphia and another 3 in Denver, Dawkins guaranteed he would cry during his induction speech. He was true to his word during a passionate oration that echoed his playing style. "The majority of success I have had has come on the back end of pain," he said, noting he had suicidal thoughts when he battled depression. "On the other side of it, all of a sudden I became better. There's a purpose for my pain. I have grown leaps and bounds because of the things I went through. For those going through this now, there is hope on the other side. Keep moving, keep pushing through." Dawkins was the leader of an Eagles defense that made 4 straight NFC championship games and 1 Super Bowl. Voted to the 2000s NFL All-Decade Team and a 5-time All-Pro, Dawkins intercepted passes in 15 consecutive seasons and had 37 picks overall. He averaged nearly 100 tackles a year and spotlighted his versatility as the first player in NFL history to get a sack, interception, fumble recovery and touchdown catch on a screen pass in a game against Houston in 2002. TV. Patrick Stewart to reprise Star Trek role in new series. New York, AP. Patrick Stewart is boldly going where he's been before. Star Trek, CBS All Access said Saturday Stewart has been tapped to headline a new Star Trek series, reprising his Star Trek New Generation character, Captain Jean-Luc Picard. The new series is not an A New Generation reboot but will tell the story of the next chapter of Picard's life. No title or air date was revealed. Stewart headlined his Star Trek series for 7 seasons and portrayed Picard in the movies Star Trek Generations 1994, Star Trek First Contact 1996, Star Trek Insurrection 1998, and Star Trek Nemesis 2002. In a statement, Stewart says he thought his Star Trek days had run its natural course, so he considers it a delightful surprise to be playing Picard again. Mets therapy. Amazing Frets, free therapy for New York Mets fans. New York, AP. New York Mets fans struggling with their team's lousy season now have somewhere to cope besides sports talk radio. An online mental health marketplace is giving free, confidential therapy sessions to Flushing faithful who fill out a form asking for their most difficult moments as fans. New York-based Duma Health made the offer this week after Tuesday's 25-4 loss to the Washington Nationals, the worst loss in Mets history. Duma says the lighthearted promotion is meant to bring attention to the important role of therapy. The company says it wants to eliminate the stigma of going to a therapist. The Mets, ravaged by injuries and boneheaded play, are the fifth worst team in Major League Baseball. They're tied for last in the NL East, 16 games behind the division-leading Phillies. Copyright 2018 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, written or redistributed.